Good morning. This is a video to show you about a 2000 Volkswagen Passat. It's a GLS, 1.8 liter. It's a turbo, all that good stuff. But I was having cold start issues. And I could get in the car and crank it up in the morning time and it would just turn over and over and over and wouldn't crank. So it's doing fine now. And here's what the culprit was. It was actually started with the sensors. Coolant temperature sensor, which is located right here in the back of the engine there. That coolant temperature sensor was a code that came up after I replaced the oxygen sensor. So I went ahead and got it. Yeah, there we go. Right back there behind the head here. And that was the oxygen sensor I had to replace back there. That's the first one, that's bank 2. But anyway, after all that, my check engine light went off. Everything was running fine, but I noticed I couldn't crank it in the morning. I had that issue before. Here's the turbo. Alright, I believe the front seals on the compressor side here, I believe they're going out because I pulled the intake tube off here, and all the throttle body soaked in oil, a light film of oil. I put my finger in it, smelled like motor oil, so that's probably the culprit right there. I cleaned all these sensors, this sensor here, cleaned it off, cleaned this sensor here, and just took this whole tube off, cleaned it out. That should buy me some time until I can buy the kit. I found a kit on eBay. It was about, I think it was 45-50 bucks. I'm finna order that today, and I'm gonna go ahead and take the turbo out and replace it myself. The reason why I'm gonna do it myself is because I called around, and actually when I went into the shop, Volkswagen dealership, they're like, "Oh man, you're gonna have to get it." Well, all the codes come back up on the dash, so I was gonna get that VAGCOM OBD2 computer thing ran on it, and but they started saying, "Oh, it's your, you probably have to replace your oxygen sensor. We'll have to clean your throttle body. That's like 300 bucks. Well, I cleaned it myself the other day. It was a gasket was like $12. I cleaned it myself. It was really easy to do, like a 20-minute job. And I said, well, so I got home and I cleaned I took some seafoam cleaner into it and cleaned out all the oil. And I called them up and I said, well, you know what? I got oil on the intake side of on the engine there coming into the after the turbo, and they're like, and I said, I'm pretty sure that's the turbo failing, or the seals are going out. And he's like, yeah, well, parts and labor and all that's $1,500, and let me tell you right now, it is expensive to work on stuff like that. But I got and started looking. I'm gonna go fix it at the shop, and I don't have my own shop, but I got a friend that has a shop. And it's like 8 bolts that hold the turbo on. Probably take me, I think the estimated time was like 3.5 hours in the books, what it says. So they're going to charge me $1,500. I could buy a new turbo, a rebuilt turbo for $400. I'm just going to rebuild that one for 50 bucks. And that's my video on cold start issues on a 2000 Volkswagen Passat. And let me tell you, it's a pain coming out there and not be able to crank it. And once it gets running, it's fine. And it'll run fine all day long until you let it sit overnight, which I believe that's when the oil soaks in the plugs and covers the sensors and just sits there and soaks. But this morning, I've had it for a week not being able to crank it in the morning time, but I had to pat the gas and get the crank. But this morning it cranked just fine, because yesterday I took those intake tubes and cleaned all that out and just wiped all that oil out of there. So I believe I can go a little bit longer if the seal doesn't go ahead and break completely and flood the whole thing with oil, which I'm hoping not going to happen, because I got to drive it today. I got to go somewhere today. But anyway, that's my video to tell you your cold start issues. Whenever you crank it up and you get a bunch of lights come on in the dash and stuff like that, it's failing because you're soaking it in gas. It's flooding when it's cranking, so the O2 comes on because it's soaked in gas, and that's not good for your catalytic converter and things like that. So, but if you're having cold start issues, do those checks. You know, eliminate, go into that intake tube first and see if you are getting oil into that side. And if not, just, you know, fix your sensors like I did, which fixed it last time. All right.